653 KTRS, the Big 550. Jake Hansler. We are joined by Lana Zak, ABC News correspondent from Washington. Lana, a lot going on that side of the world today. We have North Korea, but we have the president came to Washington yesterday to talk about China.
Yeah, hi there, Jay and Kelly. A lot happening here, certainly. Big headlines being the president's comments about Charlottesville, and also his memo that he signed yesterday here at the White House to begin an investigation into Chinese practices regarding trade and protections of intellectual property and copyrights. It's a beginning step, but it is something that the president talked a lot about on the campaign trail, and may pave the way for eventual sanctions against China.
It's sort of a half step for those who wanted him to go further.
That's right. It is really, it's more of a signal. Whenever somebody in Washington wants to do something, they always convene a committee or an investigation is sort of the joke. And that's in essence what this is, an investigation into China's practices rather than a full-on rebuke of China's practices. But again, this is all happening in concert with an elaborate dance that's playing out before our eyes in regards to what is happening in Asia, and specifically North Korea and their threats against the United States and our allies. And so at the same time that the president is signing this memo to look into Chinese trade practices, we're also working our diplomatic channels to try and get China to influence North Korea to back down from their nuclear posturing and those threats, particularly against the American island of Guam. And it seems like it actually on that there's something successful finally to report on that front.
Right, and before we get to maybe what's being reported today, China's absolutely necessary for any diplomatic solution with North Korea, correct?
You're absolutely right, Jay. It is the single most important ally that North Korea has. 90% of North Korea's trade is with China. If anybody is going to be able to tell North Korea what they need to do, it's China. And so the United States really can't try and directly get North Korea to do anything, but China can. And so the United States has certainly been using all of its levers of influence to try and get China to force North Korea into doing what is in the best interests of Americans.
And it looks like that might be working.
That's right. So we heard from Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, on state media in North Korea, saying that he's going to be watching what he says are the stupid Yankees for a little bit longer. So that might mean that the plans that they had previously unveiled to send missiles off of the coast of Guam in mid-August is being temporarily halted. But again, it isn't a full retraction. It is what we would expect from North Korea, perhaps just hitting the pause button a little bit, but very much indicating that this is far from over.
Any indication from North Korea where they're going to go next? Is this, I know it's hard to predict with Kim Jong-un, but the tea leaves saying maybe we're heading one direction or another?
Well, what is clear is that they continue to try and pursue increased nuclear capabilities. And as long as they are doing that, they are posing a threat to the United States, South Korea, and Japan, and the rest of the world. And so even if they're not sending missiles towards the United States or any of our allies immediately, as long as they are trying to advance their nuclear capabilities. And remember, we just learned this month that they'd made this tremendous step forward by miniaturizing a nuclear weapon so that it's able to fit on a ballistic missile that potentially could reach even the United States' territories or shores. That is a major threat to the United States, and one that has to be neutralized either through diplomatic or military means eventually. And so while we may be buying time for the United States, we're buying time and not actually resolving the issue.
Absolutely. Lana Zak, ABC News correspondent from Washington, thank you very much.
Thank you.